There are certain fighters who were released from the UFC where they came back better than ever, proving that they belonged in the promotion. So here is 10 fighters who were given a second chance by the UFC. Number 10. Josh Barnett became the UFC heavyweight champion, defeating Randy Couture by TKO at UFC 36. Later he tested positive for steroids and was stripped of his title, where he was immediately released from the promotion. He fought in various different promotions across the world and had defeated some of the best heavyweights at that time. When Strikeforce merged with the UFC, he was given a second opportunity against Frank Mir, where he won the fight by TKO at UFC 164. He next lost to Travis Brown at UFC 168 and defeated Roy Nelson by a unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night 75. He would next lose to Ben Rothwell at UFC on Fox 18 and would defeat Andrei Arlovski at UFC Fight Night 93. Number 9. After losing to Alessio Sakara at UFC 101, Tyler Zlaitis was released from the UFC. He fought in different promotions where he had put together a record of 6-1 and was re-signed with the UFC. He made his return against Tom Watson at UFC 163, where he won the fight by unanimous decision. He would next win his 4 fights impressively, where he started to look like a serious contender. All of this came to an end when he lost to Michael Bisping at UFC Fight Night 72 and Gegard Mousasi at UFC Fight Night 84. Since both of them losses, he has had many wins and losses, where he doesn't seem like the same fighter he used to be. Number 8. After losing to CB Dollaway at UFC Fight Night 14, Jesse Taylor was released from the UFC. He had fought in many different promotions where he was given an opportunity to compete on the Ultimate Fighter 25. He had defeated all of the competition in the tournament, where he made his way into the finale. In the finals, he defeated Diego Lima by a rear naked choke, winning the Ultimate Fighter. He would next be pulled from his next fight due to being flagged by USADA for an out-of-competition drug test. Number 7. After losing to Gerald Harris at UFC 116, David Branch was released from the UFC. He had fought in various different promotions where he made his home in the World Series of Fighting. In the promotion, he was able to put together a 10-fight winning streak, winning both the middleweight and the light heavyweight belts. He re-signed with the UFC in 2017, where he defeated Krzysztof Jotko by a split decision at UFC 211. He next faced former champion Luke Rockhold at UFC Fight Night 116, where he lost the fight by submission via punches in the second round. Number 6. After losing to Mike Russo at UFC 114, Todd Duffee was released from the UFC. After just having 2 fights outside of the promotion, he was re-signed with the UFC, destroying both Philip DeFries at UFC 155 and Anthony Hamilton at UFC 181 within minutes. He was next given a main event slot against Frank Mir at UFC Fight Night 71, where he lost the fight by knockout in the first round. Number 5. After losing to Jake O'Brien at UFC 82, Andrei Arlovski was released from the UFC. He next fought all over the world. We had put together some great wins and was eventually re-signed with the UFC again. He made his comeback, defeating Brandon Sharp by a split decision at UFC 174. He would next defeat Antonio Silva, Travis Brown and Frank Mir, where he was so close to a title shot. All of this came to an end when he faced Stipe Miocic at UFC 195, losing the fight by TKO in the first round. He would next lose 4 fights in a row, where he finally got a win, defeating Junior Albini by a unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night 120. Number 4. After losing to Zach Makovsky at UFC Fight Night 60, Tim Elliott was released from the UFC. He signed with Titan Fighting Championship, where after 3 wins, he became the promotion's flyweight champion. He was given the opportunity to compete on the Ultimate Fighter 24 flyweight tournament. He had defeated all of the competition on the tournament, where he made his way to the finale. He faced Demetrius Johnson, where he lost the fight by unanimous decision. He would next defeat Lewis Smoker at UFC on Fox 24 and lose to Ben Wynn at UFC Fight Night 110. Number 3. After losing to Vitor Belfort at UFC 142, Anthony Johnson was released from the UFC. He moved up to the light heavyweight division, where he had put together 6 consecutive wins and re-signed with the UFC. He made his comeback as a light heavyweight, defeating Phil Davis by unanimous decision at UFC 172. He next defeated both Antonio Rogério Nogueira and Alexander Gustafsson and faced Daniel Cormier for the vacant UFC light heavyweight title at UFC 187. In the fight, he lost by submission via rear naked choke in the 3rd round. He came back better than ever, where he knocked out Jimmy Manuwa, Ryan Bader and Glover Teixeira, and challenged Daniel Cormier for the title again at UFC 210, where he lost the fight by a rear naked choke in the 2nd round. Number 2. After losing to Evan Tanner at UFC 50, Robbie Lawler was released from the UFC. He fought in various different promotions and was eventually signed with Strikeforce. When Strikeforce merged with the UFC, he made his return as a welterweight and finished Josh Koscheck by TKO at UFC 157. He would next defeat Bobby Volker and Rory McDonald and challenge Johnny Hendricks for the vacant UFC welterweight title at UFC 171. After the 5 rounds, the unanimous decision was given to Johnny Hendricks. Robbie Lawler made a violent return, defeating both Jake Ellenberger and Matt Brown, where he challenged Johnny Hendricks for the 2nd time at UFC 181, where he won the fight by a split decision, becoming the new UFC welterweight champion of the world. He would next defend his title 2 times before losing it to Tyron Woodley at UFC 201. Number 1. After losing to Junior Dos Santos at UFC 90, Fabricio Werdum was released from the UFC, who was immediately signed with Strikeforce, where he defeated the great Fedor Emelianenko. When Strikeforce merged with the UFC, he made his return, defeating Roy Nelson by a unanimous decision at UFC 143. He would next go on and defeat Mike Rosso, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Travis Brown, and face Mark Hunt for the interim UFC heavyweight title at UFC 180. In the fight, Fabricio Werdum landed a heavy knee, flattening Mark Hunt, winning the fight by TKO to become the interim champion. He next faced then UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez at UFC 188 in a title unification bout, winning the fight by a guillotine choke in the 3rd round. He will next lose his first title defense against Stipe Miocic by a knockout in the 1st round at UFC 198.